The quiet ones at work aren't who you think they are. While everyone assumes silence means weakness, they're watching the office loudmouth dig himself deeper with every word. There's a game happening beneath the surface of every conversation, every meeting, every family dinner. Most people don't even know they're players. You felt it. That moment when someone says something so profoundly stupid you can actually feel your brain recoil. Your cousin at Thanksgiving explaining economics he doesn't understand. Your coworker confidently presenting an idea that would collapse under 5 seconds of scrutiny. That stranger online who mistakes volume for validity. The instinct is to correct them, to educate, to fix. That instinct is a trap. Schopenhauer understood something most people spend their entire lives refusing to see. Intelligence and foolishness aren't having a fair fight. They're not even speaking the same language. Trying to reason with unreasonable people isn't noble. It's architectural insanity, like building a cathedral on quicksand and wondering why it keeps sinking. The smart ones have learned to become invisible architects of their own peace. They've stopped volunteering for battles that can't be won. Watch what happens in any office when someone proposes something idiotic with complete confidence. The truly intelligent person doesn't jump in with corrections. They don't offer the better solution right away. They wait. They ask questions. Simple ones. How would that work with the budget? What happens if the client pushes back? Not to help, to let the idea collapse under its own weight. The fool thinks they're having a conversation. The architect is quietly removing structural supports. This isn't cruelty. This is conservation of something far more valuable than being right. Your energy, your time, the finite reservoir of patience you have before bitterness becomes your permanent mask. Here's what nobody tells you about foolishness. It's contagious through engagement. Every minute you spend trying to illuminate someone who mistakes their ignorance for insight, you're not just wasting time. You're absorbing their chaos. You're letting their theatrical certainty destabilize your foundation. The mind is a building with limited doors. When you let foolishness in through the front, wisdom sneaks out the back. Think about the last time you tried to convince someone of an obvious truth. Really tried. Brought evidence. Used logic. Stayed calm. What happened? They doubled down. Got emotional. Accused you of being condescending or missing the point. Because you were never actually threatening their argument. You were threatening their identity. And people will burn down everything around them before they'll let that structure fall. The fool doesn't lose sleep over being wrong. But you do, after trying to help them. That's the hidden tax on engagement. You pay in frustration, in eroded faith in humanity, in the slow buildup of cynicism that calcifies around your thoughts like plaque. They walk away unbothered. You walk away carrying debris. Smart people learn to treat foolishness like radiation. Minimize exposure. Increase distance. Never with malice. Always with preservation. There's a specific type of fool that causes the most damage. The one who's occasionally right. They get lucky with a prediction. They succeed despite their methods. And this becomes their weapon. Their proof that their chaotic thinking works. You'll find them everywhere. The manager who screams at people and points to quarterly numbers. The friend who gives terrible advice that somehow worked out once. The pundit whose broken clock moment gets amplified into authority. These are the most dangerous because they've built an entire theater around their randomness and called it strategy. Trying to show them the difference between luck and skill is like trying to explain architecture to someone who thinks buildings stay up through sheer belief. The wisdom isn't in correction. It's in extraction, removing yourself from the blast radius. Here's the thing about silence that intimidates fools. It doesn't give them anything to push against. The intelligent response to nonsense isn't a counter-argument. It's the refusal to build on rotten ground. A simple, I see, or interesting, or nothing at all. The fool interprets this as agreement or defeat. Let them. Their interpretation isn't your responsibility. Your mental infrastructure is. This creates a strange inversion. Society rewards the vocal, the confident, the ones who fill every silence with certainty. Meetings are won by whoever talks the most, not the best. Social gatherings orbit around the loudest personality. The quiet architect in the corner looks like they have nothing to contribute, but they're doing something far more sophisticated. They're not wasting structural materials on foundations that won't hold. You can see this play out in every comment section, every family argument, every political debate. Someone says something absurd. Someone smart responds with facts. The absurdity gets louder. The facts get more detailed. Neither side moves, but only one side goes home exhausted, wondering why people don't just listen to reason. Because reason was never the language being spoken. The fool is speaking identity, belonging, the emotional architecture of their self-concept. You brought blueprints to a bonfire. The people who figured this out have learned to smile and nod while internally categorizing. This person, safe for small talk, dangerous for decisions. This relative, fine for holidays, never for advice. This colleague, professional courtesy, personal distance. They're not being fake. They're being intelligent architects of their finite energy. There's a buried violence in this realization. You start seeing how much of human interaction is theater. Performances where everyone pretends the emperor has clothes because pointing out nakedness costs more than pretending. The work meeting where everyone knows the plan is stupid but only the junior person says it and gets marked as not a team player. The family gathering where everyone enables the narcissist because confrontation would ruin the ritual. Smart people learn to navigate these theaters without becoming actors. They're stagehands, present but not performing, necessary but not invested. This is where Schopenhauer's darkness becomes clarity. The world isn't a meritocracy of ideas. It's a marketplace of egos. And in that marketplace, the person who needs to be right will always outspend the person who actually is right. You can't win by being correct. You can only win by refusing to play games designed for you to lose. The most profound act of intelligence isn't demonstrating your superiority. It's concealing it from people who would resent you for it. The tall poppy gets cut down. The buried seed becomes a tree. Watch how the truly wise move through the world. They don't correct everyone. They don't signal their intelligence like a beacon. They ask questions that let fools reveal themselves. They agree with harmless stupidity and ignore the rest. They save their real thoughts for people who've earned access to that architecture. Everyone else gets the lobby. This creates loneliness that nobody warns you about. The loneliness of seeing clearly while surrounded by people who mistake their blindness for vision. The isolation of watching preventable disasters unfold because saying, "I told you so," is social suicide. The strange prison of being right in a world that rewards being loud. But here's the final layer. That loneliness is freedom. Freedom from the exhausting performance of trying to enlighten people who are committed to darkness. Freedom from the debt of other people's emotional chaos. Freedom to build your internal structures without constantly repairing damage from fools with sledgehammers. The game beneath the game is this. Foolishness wants company. It needs validation. It demands engagement. Intelligence learned long ago that the best response to a demand is silence. Not the silence of weakness. The silence of a fortress with the drawbridge up. You can't save people from themselves. You can only decide whether to drown with them or watch from shore. And the smart ones have already chosen their ground.